This week, our DM. Hi, She's on the Money. I have a financial dilemma or question. My in-laws have offered for us to build on a block that they have in an area we would never be able to afford to buy in. We would just need to pay for the mortgage repayments for the cost of the build. It's financially a great opportunity and I have a great relationship with my in-laws. However, the block is not in my name, and so the house and loan will also not be in my name, and we will be pouring our savings into them. It is in their will that it will go to my partner and I, but until then, I need to protect myself. My partner and I were looking at getting a financial agreement in place by a lawyer so that my money is protected. However, I don't know what to put in this document or advice on what other people had wished they had in place before entering into an agreement like this. What would you do?
Mm-hmm. It's really, it is a tricky one. I feel like the legalities of, actually, I don't know. I feel like I don't know enough about this, so I apologize in advance. But
we can make some assumptions.
Yes, and also, but I don't know the much about like owning a home or anything like that in general. But I think if you could put like some sort of like financial something in place, to make sure that you're protected. I don't know, the whole thing to me, I am a person who's like, too hard basket. I kind of like, and that's why I'm, financially not getting ahead, because I'm always like, it's too much work. So, but I feel like it's maybe too much. And I would just be like, don't worry about it. I also feel like, is this a place you want to move to? Or are you just like if someone said to me like, you could own a house in Vaucluse in Sydney, I'd be like, that sounds great. It's just for context, very expensive area, a gorgeous area. But I don't want to move to Sydney and I don't want to live in Vaucluse. And that was never on my hopes and dreams list. So I'm like, cool, this opportunity to live somewhere I've literally never wanted to live before. I'll be so far away from my friends and family, but it's a very expensive area. I would be like, no, thanks. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm happy, I'm on the right trajectory, and I'll eventually buy where I want to live. And so if that's something, if you're like, do I just feel this urgency? Because I'm like, whoa, when am I going to get this opportunity again? Then maybe you need to think about like, is it something you want to do, or you just feel like it'd be really
I'm
silly
assuming she wants to, because she said, in an area that I couldn't afford. Like, because I'm assuming when you say,
that's what I mean.
In an area I can't afford, it's like, we would love to live there, but like, we can't afford a block. You know what I mean?
I know, but that's what I mean is like, is it, that's what I mean about the Vaucluse
Is the cost
thing.
of living going to be higher in this area? Is that kind of what you're getting at? Like if you live in a more affluent area?
I guess so. I guess what I'm getting at is like, was that an area you wanted to live in? Was that an area that you were like, oh my God, I would love to live here? Or is it like, whoa, I would never usually be able to afford this, but I didn't want to live here. I just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So figure out if that's what's going on first.
Fair. Jess, what are you doing?
From a contractual perspective, I would probably be looking to put a clause in. I mean, honestly, first and foremost, I would just be relying on a lawyer personally. Like,
Get that advice from that lawyer, baby.
Yeah, I love that you value our opinion, and obviously we're going to tell you what we think, but like I would be putting my faith in someone who does this day in and day out for their job. The kind of clause I would be looking for is perhaps something that would say, because wills can be changed, and that would be my concern. So like if the will was to be changed, or if, God forbid, you and your partner were to break up or go separate ways or something like that, you would be repaid the money that you had put into the house. And I mean, like you could look at, maybe with interest, or, if the house were to sell, you could get a percentage. There's lots of different ways that you could split it. And that's where I'd kind of rely on the lawyer to be like, well, what's the best way to go about this? But I would be looking to kind of find a way to ensure that there's a contract in place to say that if for whatever reason the whole thing went tits up, like you're getting your money back, because on paper you have no ownership, like you're not entitled to anything. So I would be seeking to clarify that specifically.
Yeah, so you can do that. When I was a financial advisor, I had a client that went through this because his family were really wealthy, and the reason they didn't want to gift the property was it was quite complex. It was in a trust. There would have been a whole heap of capital gains to pay to get it out. There was a good reason for it. But binding financial agreement with contribution clauses. We want to sit down and go, okay, cool. If I'm putting my money in, I want a clause in there that says I'm going to get my money back. I also want to make sure that there's like a reimbursement or a compensation clause. So if the property is sold or transfers names or my circumstance changes, like we break up, like what happens? Like there's not just a caveat that says if it's sold, I get my money back. Like how is this going to be reimbursed to me? Because obviously it's on his, parents' land. I'm assuming that you're not going to get to keep the land if you break up. But like what about the house? Like it's not going to be an option for you to stay in that house. So there's like a few more things I want you to think about there. But you are absolutely on the right path and asking the right questions right now to put yourself in the best possible position. And then the other thing I would touch on is maybe like, I don't know, like spicy, not spicy, like the inheritance intentions. They mean nothing. So just because it's in his parents' will to go to you, you can change your will tomorrow. You don't need permission from anybody else to change it. They could show you a signed copy of their will today. You sign off on everything and they go back to their lawyers tomorrow and change it. It doesn't matter who it's like entrusted to right now. That doesn't uphold in court. Like there's no reason, like they don't owe you anything, if that makes sense. So while that is a beautiful intention, I would actually like a binding financial agreement that says that I will get my money back.
Yeah.
And whatever other clauses you think are important, because it's just, what are, what are my rules if it's coming to me? Also like maintenance, land, taxes, rates, who's paying those?
Yeah.
Like if it's not in my name, is it my responsibility? Can we get clarity on that? Also, if I do start paying the rates for that property, do I have any entitlement to asking for that land in the future if we separate?
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions that I can't answer because I'm not a lawyer. Go talk to a lawyer, but those are the things you're going to ask.
Yeah.
What did everybody else say?
Oh, there was a lot of conversation. So first question we asked to the community, would you enter an agreement to build a house with your in-laws like this? 22% of you said, yep, if it means I could have a house. 30% said, no way, too messy. And 48% of you said, well, it depends on the in-laws. We asked another question, what do you think should happen if the relationship ended? So 35% of you said, yep, should be paid out at market value. 31% negotiate based on the situation. 25% said sell and split the profits. And 9% of you said just reimburse my contributions, which interesting. But like these are the like questions that you need to take to the lawyer to go, well, in the event that this doesn't work out. And that's what I mean about, what happens if you break up? Every situation, every business, every property needs an exit strategy. You need an exit. I don't care who you are. Jess is going to buy her first home at some point soon and I'm so flipping excited about it. But one of the first questions I will ask her, what's your exit strategy? How would we sell this? How is it structured? Like just might be like, it's my family home. I never want to sell it. Cool. But we always have an exit strategy anyway. We asked the community, what are your 2 cents? First person, I thought my in-laws were great too, until they weren't. Get it in writing, but seriously, find another way.
Yeah.
Next person said, just speak to a lawyer, cover all your bases. If you split up, you or the in-laws, death happens, changes happen, make sure you're covered.
Agree.
Another person said, you need to consider any ramifications, re the ATO, with avoiding stamp duty, which is true. And it's also probably one of the reasons why they don't want to transfer it into your name, because you might trigger a sell and you might trigger a transfer of assets and some stamp duty because stamp duty happens whether you like it or not when you transfer property from one name to another. However, if it is in a will and it's like part of a deceased estate, often that's waived. So that might be why it's like in the will. But I want this stuff in writing. I want a legally binding contract, because a will, that's just thoughts and hopes and dreams, baby. Someone else said, and this person's username has like the word legal in it. So like,
they probably know what they're talking about.
Oh yeah.
and she prefaces it with, as a property lawyer.
Oh, there you go.
My opinion is this is hands down a very terrible idea. And then she uses 6 red flag emojis.
That's the person I'm listening to.
Yeah.
I'm going with that one.
She has legal in her username.
Yeah.
Another person who does not have legal in her username said, I'm so surprised at how many people would be happy to sign this.
Yes.
Oh, I have a 3-parter one for you. This is, again, not a legal representative that has disclosed. Someone said, I'm in a similar situation. My in-laws helped my fiance buy a property and I'm expected to pay off the mortgage. They wouldn't accept having my name on it. We are getting a binding financial agreement, but I still think it is unfair. Mortgage repayments are a huge contribution.
Yeah.
So that person, I'd be saying just pay market value rent then.
Yeah.
Do you mean like
true.
rather, so my mortgage contribution will be in line with what I would pay if
But
I
that
was
would be
renting.
logical.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be here with your logic. Someone else said, and I'm just going to give you 2 more. Someone else said, generous in-laws who clearly love you. Take the deal with an arrangement in place. Again, everyone has different opinions, right?
That's true.
And then last one I'll share is in-laws will always protect their own blood. Do you have your own money to go to court if it doesn't work out?
Well, that's a very good point.
I think that's a very good point. But anyway,
good luck.
Talk to a lawyer.
good luck.
lawyer.
Talk to a lawyer. Have a good weekend. I think we're going to wrap it up here. So have a good weekend, my friends, and we'll see you on Monday bright and early for a Money Monday diary.
Bye, guys.
Money Monday diary?
I was just thinking that.
I'll see you later.
Money Monday.